Good afternoon. The Tuesday, September 30th meeting of the Milwaukee County Board of Supervisors will now come to order. To receive the county executive's recommended budget for 2026. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisors Alexander.
Excused.
Bielinski. Supervisor Bielinski.
He is here, but his mic might be off.
I'm here. My mic should be on.
There you go.
We hear you now, Supervisor. Capiola.
Here.
Cox-Jones.
Here.
Ekblad.
Here.
Gomez-Town.
Here.
Johnson Jr.
Here.
Logston.
Present.
Martin.
Present.
Martinez.
Here.
O'Connor.
Present.
Rolland.
Here.
Shea.
Here.
Taylor District 5.
Present in person.
Taylor District 17.
Here.
Vincent.
Present.
Wasserman. Madam Chairwoman.
In accordance.
Alexander present.
18 members present. We have a quorum. Thank you all for being here. We meet today to receive the 2026 recommended budget from the county executive. Once received, I will refer the 2026 budget to finance for that committee's review. The board will hold our public hearing on the county budget. Please mark your calendars for Monday, October 27th at the Domes. Doors open at 5 p.m. and supervisors will convene at 6 p.m. to hear testimonies. This meeting is live streaming in CLIC, our County Legislative Information Center, and I invite First Vice Chair Shea to remind us of our housekeeping rules.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For those attending virtually, use video at all times to ensure quorum. Keep microphones muted and only unmute when addressing the board. Use the hand-raising function when you wish to be recognized. Keep this function active until you're called upon. Avoid using the chat function. Make sure you're visible on screen in a bright location. If you lose connection, close your Teams window and restart Teams from the calendar invite. For those attending in person, please raise your hand when you would like to be recognized. Make sure to keep your microphone turned off until you are called upon to speak. Please turn your microphone off once you are done speaking. Should you choose to have the Teams meeting open on your device, make sure to mute your microphone and turn your speakers all the way down. And for all supervisors, please maintain a sense of decorum during the floor debate on all items throughout today's meeting. Under our rules, supervisors should ask the chair for permission to exit the meeting under a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, First Vice Chair Shea. I now invite our members and guests to join our second Vice Chair, Supervisor Cox-Jones, in our Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk.
Madam Chairwoman, the next order of business is the fourth order of business, presentation of the 2026 recommended budget by the county executive.
Thank you, Deputy Clerk Dostanic, who will be supporting us today. County Executive Crowley, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's nice to see so many residents, local leaders, elected officials, cabinet members, and community partners. Today, I join you to present the Milwaukee County's 2026 recommended budget. But before I begin, I want to thank a number of our county leaders, many of who's here today, and that includes our Chairwoman, Marcelia Nicholson, Clerk George Christensen, Comptroller Liz Sumner, Sheriff Denita Ball, District Attorney Kent Laverne, Chief Judge Carl Ashley, Clerk of Circuit Courts Anna Maria Hodges, Register of Deeds Israel Ramon, Treasurer David Cullen, my cabinet for joining us today, and of course, the entire Milwaukee County Board of Supervisors. I recognize and appreciate your continued dedication to our residents and commitment to working together to build a responsible and thoughtful budget. And as I look forward to engaging in good faith with everyone in this chamber so we can deliver results for those that we serve. My 2026 recommended budget strives to foster a stronger Milwaukee County through fiscal sustainability. But as we all know, this is not a new task. When I took office in 2020, one of my top priorities was to solve the county's long-standing financial problems while preserving the services our residents rely on every single day. Milwaukee County had been facing huge budget deficits, declining revenues, and a growing deferred maintenance backlog that was created by leaders of the past. By 2028, Milwaukee County's structural deficit was estimated to reach a total of $109 million. So we had to make some tough choices to put Milwaukee County on a path of fiscal sustainability. We worked to address legacy fiscal issues. We secured new revenues and implemented innovative and efficient ways to deliver services for everyone in our community. Milwaukee County has made significant progress towards our goal, but we know we continue to face fiscal challenges. Our collaborative work to pass the bipartisan shared revenue deal, known as Wisconsin Act 12, had made historic impacts on our bottom line. And thanks to those reforms, Milwaukee County is expected to generate a total of approximately $192 million in sales tax revenue in 2026. Addressing pension obligation bonds reduced a significant financial drain and slowed the pace in which the county was losing money. But Act 12 did not fully resolve the county's structural deficit. More challenges remain. And as I noted during last year's budget address, costs continue to rise, particularly for state-mandated services, which already consume the majority of Milwaukee County's local tax levy. So I took our case to Madison during the last budget session and worked with a bipartisan group of lawmakers to identify fair funding solutions for the services that Milwaukee County is required to carry out by state law. This work resulted in a biennial budget passed by the Wisconsin State Legislature and then signed by Governor Tony Evers that included several provisions that I advocated for. And for the first time in over 60 years, Milwaukee County will be more fairly reimbursed for state-mandated services, saving a significant amount of local taxpayer dollars. By working with our partners at the state of Wisconsin, we also secured additional dollars to help fund highway patrol and maintenance, court operations, transportation and paratransit efforts, district attorney positions, and more. These investments from the states will support public safety efforts and lay the groundwork for future investments while simultaneously saving taxpayer dollars, generating new revenue flexibility in future county budgets, and charting a path to fiscal sustainability. These are huge wins that will help our bottom line in the long run. But more work will need to be done in the years ahead to navigate the challenges before us. The Comptroller's Office reported that we are staring down a $46 million budget deficit for 2026, nearly double the average shortfall of recent years. Now, there are several reasons that explain why this is happening. Across the board, increased costs from inflation, tariffs, and economic uncertainty are affecting everybody across the board. Significant reductions in federal funding impact future investments and the ongoing services that so many residents rely on. Overtime deficits remain at both the Sheriff's Office as well as the Community Reintegration Center. And the county's deferred maintenance backlog continues to weigh on us. To address the projected $46 million shortfall, my 2026 recommended budget identifies a mix of new revenues, cost savings, and careful spending choices. The recommended budget includes a property tax levy increase of approximately $12 million. But thanks to the largest property tax cut in history that we delivered for our workers, families, and businesses in 2024, the county's property tax levy will remain lower than it was in 2023 to limit the burden on residents. But also thanks to Act 12, the 2026 property tax levy is still $25 million less than what it would have been without the passage of this shared revenue reform. And to give you a little bit of context, the primary driver of the tax levy increases is the higher than usual debt service payments. Starting in this budget, the county will begin making payments for the Forensic Science and Protective Medicine facility in Wauwatosa and the new Nature and Culture Museum of Wisconsin, which is currently under construction. These are capital projects that will add great value to everyone in our community, but the truth is that expenses continue to outpace our revenues. Now, this challenge is not unique to Milwaukee County. Matter of fact, it's something that every municipal government across our state continues to work to address. And I want to be clear, we are doing everything that we can to keep Milwaukee County's share of property taxes low for our working families. And that's what you're going to see in this proposed budget. County departments have made some tough decisions in their 2026 budgets that will allow us to navigate fiscal limitations. And I want to applaud my entire cabinet for their continued dedication for responsible budgeting. This is not an easy budget, but they have worked extremely hard to identify creative solutions that balance both service delivery with staff retention. Another major driver of the county's current fiscal state comes from the significant reduction of federal funding in 2026. Now, last year I stood before you and presented an annual budget under a vastly different political climate. And since then, leadership changes in the nation's capital have impacted how we have to plan for Milwaukee County's future. The day-to-day uncertainty comes from the federal government, makes this a very difficult, but also an ever-shifting process. In recent years, the county has received approximately $160 million annually in federal reimbursements and grants. And we have a history of responsibly and effectively utilizing our federal funds to invest in key priorities like affordable housing and home ownership opportunities. However, recent federal budget reductions approved by President Trump and Congress will significantly impact financial assistance for individuals and families in every community across the county. This includes programs and services offered by Milwaukee County, notably behavioral health services, housing programs, and any health services that accept Medicaid. We also anticipate a reduction in other federal grant availability, including for environmental cleanup and sustainability initiatives. And the American Rescue Plan Act funding is sunsetting at the end of the 2026 year as well. Now, I don't agree with many of these decisions that are coming out of Washington, D.C., and I know many of you don't either. But unfortunately, this is the reality that we find ourselves in, so we must attempt to plan ahead. Simply put, the county has limited options to address the gap that a loss of federal funding will actually create for us. But I want you to know that I will do everything that I can to ensure that local taxpayers don't pay the price for the decisions of leaders in Washington. That's why fiscally responsible investments are the way forward. To advance our mission of becoming the healthiest county in the state of Wisconsin, this budget adds new positions in the Department of Health and Human Services for child support services, youth residential care, and housing intervention efforts. My recommended budget maintains DHHS programs and services for families, children, seniors, veterans, and the young people of our community, including efforts like the Credible Messengers program that is delivering results in neighborhoods all across Milwaukee County. My administration also joined leaders across Wisconsin to successfully advocate for a change in the state budget that increases the county's financial obligation for administering youth corrections. This collective effort will save more than $6 million annually, starting with the 2026 budget. When we look at the housing landscape today, costs are climbing at a pace that many working families in Milwaukee County can't keep up with. And over the past few years, we have seen rents that have jumped more than 30%. This trend is simply unsustainable. And so in response, we're increasing funding for DHHS's Housing Choice Voucher Program, which provide rent support to more than 1,800 tenants annually. My recommended budget also invests in sustaining county housing programs, such as supportive services, home repair loans, affordable housing efforts, outreach, and more. And I'm recommending $500,000 for flexible rental assistance so vulnerable residents can stay in their homes during these tough times. This recommitment to housing couldn't come at a better time. The extreme flooding that we recently incurred in our community underscored the need for quality housing and supportive services for folks who actually need them. It also stressed the importance of maintaining and enhancing emergency management services. In my 2026 budget, the Office of Emergency Management will be fully funded to ensure that in times of crisis, we can deploy the needed personnel as well as the resources to not only recover, but to make sure that we can move forward. This includes continued funding for OEM's Text to 911 initiative that recently led to the safe rescue of 3 passengers after crashing a small plane into Lake Michigan. Because Text to 911 works, even when cellular signal is not available, the crash survivors were able to communicate vital information to our 911 operators until their safe rescue. And so without this service, this situation may have had a tragically different ending. But they are alive and okay because of our fiscally responsible investment. That's why we're going to continue funding these critical services in 2026. And the same goes for MCTS. My budget directs $9 million in transit-specific ARPA funds to the Milwaukee County Transit System for 2026. By comparison, MCTS is projected to utilize approximately $20 million of these federal funds by the end of the year. And as I mentioned, these federal funds, they will run out next year. The upcoming reduction in available ARPA funds has created a gap in our 2026 MCTS budget. And this will become an even bigger issue in 2027 when there are no ARPA funds available. That's why MCTS will be pursuing a right-sizing of the system to ensure it is fiscally sustainable, it meets the needs and the criteria of our residents, and can stay solvent for many years to come. Some of these changes may come to as a surprise to transit users, like route changes, as well as fare adjustments. But as I said last year, we all need to be prepared to make tough decisions on how to maintain and invest in transit services. We are running out of options, and we are running out of time before MCTS's fiscal cliff is too much to overcome. So we must work together to advocate for transportation funding from our state and federal partners. Our ability to continue providing reliable public transit service depends on it. And on transit security, my budget proposes a new pilot program in partnership with the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office designed to deter and prevent incidents of violence and credible threats on our county buses. The pilot initiative would deploy sheriff deputies to targeted routes to enhance safety and security for operators and riders alike. And I know this is an issue that our community cares deeply about. Everyone deserves to use public transit without worrying about their safety or the safety of their loved ones. And our bus operators deserve the opportunity to go to work every single day without fear of their own well-being. My hope is that this new effort becomes a potential model to both keep riders and our operators safe on our buses. But also on a different note, we also have some great news to share, particularly from our Milwaukee County parks. Because residents love our parks, they're visiting our beer gardens, golf courses, and our dog parks. Activity is up all across the system, which means increased revenue for our parks. And in the same spirit of fiscal responsibility and sustainability, I'm proud that we are maintaining the number of pools and splash pads that are currently open and accessible for residents, families, and children to enjoy. My budget invests over $13 million for 11 capital projects across our Milwaukee County Park system. In partnership with the EPA and DNR, we will continue wildlife enhancement projects and habitat design, maintenance and restoration efforts on Little Menominee River, Cole Park Wildlife, South Shore Beach, and more. My recommended budget also upholds our commitment to the redevelopment and restoration of the Mitchell Park domes with the first $5 million allocation that this body approved just earlier this year. And speaking of the 2026 capital budget, we'll be pursuing a mix of cash and bond finance projects combined with other external revenues totaling $108 million. This includes capital funding to build a new front entrance at our Milwaukee County Zoo, improve county-owned facilities like the Kosciuszko Community Center, make repairs at senior centers, and enhance county highways with 10 transportation infrastructure projects. A centerpiece of next year's capital budget is the Investing in Justice Courthouse Complex project. Now, this is an investment of nearly $16 million for the redevelopment of Milwaukee County Courthouse Complex facilities. Within the courthouse complex, the nearly 100-year-old public safety building is not supporting the safety of our region, nor the health of our community, or the rehabilitation of our neighbors. I think we all know that it's crumbling, it's inefficient, and it's a risk to both community safety and community justice. And it must be removed and replaced with a new building. And so I want to be crystal clear. Delaying this project any further means that the cost will rise by hundreds of millions of dollars. Challenging delivering justice will increase, and the county's ability to make future capital investments will also be in jeopardy. The current facility also represents nearly 50% of all deferred maintenance for Milwaukee County government. Imagine future investments if we can come together to tackle this project now versus kicking this expensive can down the road. And as I mentioned, we work closely with Governor Tony Evers and our partners in the state legislature to secure additional annual operating dollars for state-mandated safety services, public safety services. The legislative intent was for Milwaukee County to use these local funds that would have otherwise been spent on highway patrol to construct a new facility to replace the public safety building. We have worked hard to build and strengthen bipartisan relationships with our partners in Madison. Those working relationships have resulted in our ability to bring more resources back to Milwaukee County. And if we want to continue bringing state dollars back to Milwaukee, it's imperative that we respect this deal. I recognize that there will always be capital projects that need funding. But if we don't hold up our end of the bargain, that funding could be taken away from us in future state budgets. And we cannot afford that scenario. And so that's why I'm strongly urging this body to approve the funding for the project. To vote against it would not only jeopardize the generational investment that would improve outcomes for those impacted by the justice system, but could have a lasting impact on our ability to secure state funding for future county investments. And finally, our work would not be possible without our dedicated Milwaukee County changemakers who develop creative solutions to address the issues at hand. While our mission must be long-term fiscal responsibility, we can't do any of this work without our great team. So this budget includes a modest 1% across-the-board raise for Milwaukee County employees. It will always be a priority for my administration to hire talented individuals and retain the impressive employees that we're all so lucky to have. And to them, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your dedication, not just to this organization, but to the people of Milwaukee County. And so in closing, my 2026 recommended budget is designed to protect essential services, invest in infrastructure that will serve generations to come, and maintain stability in the face of shifting financial realities. Now it's more important than ever that we recommit to the collaborative work ahead. We have to find common ground and make tough decisions so we can deliver services, improve quality of life for our residents, and protect the future of Milwaukee County. I've said it before, and I will say it again. I will not ignore fiscal responsibility because, quite frankly, we can't afford to. We are the largest, the most diverse county in Wisconsin. We are the economic engine of the Badger State, and we are Wisconsin's epicenter for culture, entertainment, industry, innovation, tourism, and so much more. So let's act like it. Let's lead by example. The rest of the state is watching how we're going to respond to these challenges. Because you know what? They're feeling the pinch too. And so I'm asking you to once again pass a fiscally responsible budget. Let's take on this task together. Let's build the bright future for our children and for our grandchildren, the future they absolutely deserve. And let's chart a sustainable path for all of Milwaukee County. Thank you, and God bless you all.